Welfare originally began in the 1930s during the Great Depression. The program was designed to aid families or individuals with little or no income. Today, the welfare system is still in place and has been a hot topic of discussion since its creation. Many Americans believe that people on welfare abuse it by not getting jobs, having too many kids, or staying unmarried in order to receive more benefits. The slogan, "We work so they don't have to," has become popular with individuals who do not believe in welfare. I don't necessarily believe that welfare is unnecessary. I believe it needs to be improved so it is not abused. Drug testing should be required in order to receive welfare. My first main point is mandatory drug tests for welfare is a type of social contract. My second main point is mandatory drug tests are fair. And my third main point is mandatory drug tests would promote responsibility. Social contracts are important factors in a thriving society, and drug tests for welfare is a type of social contract. My first main point is drug testing for welfare is a type of social contract. According to Merriam-Webster's online dictionary, they define social contract as an actual or hypothetical agreement among the members of an organized society or between a community and its rulers that defies and limits the rights and duties of each. Mark Benson stated in a January 2014 article published on the Concordian that what this means is that welfare is a social contract between the people in need and those providing for them. If taxpayers are required to give part of their earnings to people who are in need, it would be reasonable to expect that people receiving welfare assistance should be held to standards in order to ensure the temporary nature of the assistance and to lead their quick reentry into the workforce. Drug tests would ensure that this level of responsible behavior is upheld by those receiving assistance. He is saying that it shouldn't be a problem for welfare recipients to pass a drug test. In fact, it should be a moral obligation for them because taxpayers are required to give part of their earnings. In sum, drug testing for welfare is a social contract between the recipients and the taxpayers. Drug testing for welfare is a type of social contract, but not everyone abides to social contracts, which leads to my second main point. The mandatory drug tests are fair. According to the National Conference of State Legislators, recently at least 12 states have passed legislation regarding drug testing or screening for public assistance. In some states, drug tests are required for all applicants, while others require a specific screening process. In most cases, if drug test is positive, they are ineligible for benefits for a specific time period or until they complete a treatment program. Many people will argue that this will affect the children of the household, but in most cases, the children are still eligible to receive benefits if other family members who pass the drug test become the protected payee for the child. According to the ASPE Issue Brief Journal published on October 2011 by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, studies of the prevalence of substance abuse among welfare recipients have varied widely in their findings, with rates between 4 and 37% reportedly. Much of the difference in rates is due to the different data sources, however. There are definitely welfare recipients who are abusing the privileges they have. By abusing their privileges, they are wasting taxpayers' hard-earned money, which is extremely unfair. Taxpayers do not get the privilege of deciding where their taxes are being spent, so it is only fair that their money is going to people who deserve it. Also, most employees now have to pass a drug test to get a job, along with military personnel, college students, and professional sports. In order for most taxpayers to get a job, drug tests are required, so welfare recipients should have to be held to the same standard. I showed you in my second main point, the mandatory drug test in order to receive welfare is a social solution. Most taxpayers need to pass a drug test to receive a job, so welfare recipients should also. Not only are mandatory drug tests fair in order to receive welfare, they will also promote responsibility. Which leads to my third main point, mandatory drug tests would promote responsibility. Mark Benson stated in a 2014 article published on the Concordian, now welfare has become more accepted by mainstream American society. It has become more of a long-term commitment for some. More people than ever are now dependent on government handouts in order to survive. And the workforce is slowly shrinking as people give up looking for jobs and see government assistance as the only way to put food on the table. The economic downturn and the slow recovery have left significant amount of Americans in poverty and in need of assistance. These programs are necessary as social safety nets, but they were designed to be temporary and reciprocal. He also points out that a good percentage of welfare recipients are substance abusers, and the fact of mandatory drug tests would promote responsible behavior and also help people stop relying on welfare. An article written by Alan Greenblatt on March 10th, published on NPR, Greenblatt writes that about how Casha Kelly, who served in the Kansas State House since 2005, believes that mandatory drug testing for welfare recipients. Greenblatt quotes Kelly saying, "I get a lot of constituents who mention their frustration with neighbors that they know are receiving some sort of public assistance. They don't feel the money is being used right when they know that drugs are being used in the house. I would concur with that." Kelly, along with others, believe that tax dollars should be spent on people who need it, not drugs. They also believe that drug tests will help recipients to get back up on their feet and into the working world again. It is important that welfare is available to people who are struggling, but welfare was made as a temporary fix. A lot of recipients abuse the welfare system and purposely avoid getting jobs and spending the money foolishly. I showed you in my third main point that mandatory drug tests would promote responsibility. These mandatory drug tests could help people get cleaned up and enter back into the working world. Mandatory drug tests are fair and a type of social contract, and they can help promote responsibility for welfare abusers. Welfare was originally designed to aid people who were struggling or without jobs. Now welfare is a heated debate about its necessity or not, with Americans also believing that in order to receive welfare, recipients should be required to pass a drug test. Taxpayers do not get a say in where our hard-earned money is spent, and a good percentage of it goes towards welfare. It is only fair that if our hard-earned money is going into the welfare program, the drug testing should be required to receive welfare. I encourage you all to support drug testing in order to receive welfare because taxpayers' money should be spent on people who deserve it. Drug testing should be required in order to receive welfare. In a review of my main points, my first is mandatory drug testing for welfare as a type of social contract. My second is mandatory drug tests are fair. My third is mandatory drug tests would promote responsibility.